So this morning we got a lot of woke on woke crime because two of the mainstream networks decided to put their morning shows together and one attacked the other. When Morning Joe came out with their story that they were reestablishing communications with the president elect, the folks over at Disney, of course it's Disney, right? Over at Disney did the unthinkable. They attacked them. In fact, not anybody attacked them. It was, of course, the ladies at The View, the lovely bag of tolerance over there. It's not the bag of mad cats that you thought it was. Decided that they were going to set their woke in chief anchor lady, or whatever you want to call her, Sonny Hostin, upon Morning Joe because they were supposedly kissing the ring. Yeah, this is a real article coming to us from Deadline. And it is, well, not just the least bit offensive. Let's organize this a little more around the proper shape there. And yeah, this is full garbage. And I feel bad for the terrible people, the terrible pair over at Morning Joe. I mean, Joe and Minka just absolutely get attacked by one of these incredibly gracious and polite people over at The View. Disney, you're going to have to clean up this cesspool before it takes down your network. It's not like you're, gaining ground right now anyway, and this show especially is poisonous and toxic. And I think a lot of people are starting to realize that. Scrolling on down, opening the door to potentially constructive conversations or merely kissing the ring. This is a question being asked by this author over at Deadline. Deadline, you might want to look into some thought process from Greg Evans here. I hope he doesn't think that this is the way to look at things. Anyway, this morning's announcement by Morning Joe's Joe Scarborough and Mika Brzezinski, that's his wife, by the way. I wonder why she didn't take his name. Oh, yeah, of course. Anyway, that they met with Donald Trump at Mar-a-Lago on Friday in an attempt to restart communications with the president-elect after 7 years of bitter feuding, and silence drew some heated and, not surprisingly, differing opinions on today's View. Not surprisingly, of course not. The people at Disney are the least tolerant, most anti-American you can possibly be. They only believe in the neo-Marxism that Disney's been peddling through all of their various outlets for a while. And this is, well, no different. Co-stars Sarah Haynes and Alyssa Farah Griffin praised the Morning Joe détente as a welcome first step. However, Sonny Hostin and, oh, you know it, Anna Navarro, two of the fiercer Trump critics, you mean anti-American apologists on the ABC Read Disney Daytime Talker, had some harsher words. Of course they did. The bottom line, said Hostin, I don't care, is that America needs a free press that is willing to speak truth to power. Actually, the press is just support facts and information to the public. They don't have to speak truth. If they do investigative reporting, they can, well, reveal truth. But they don't get to be activists like they've been. And look, that's why you guys are losing ground. You're all activists for, well, nothing American. Anyway, now more than ever, they want the press to speak truth to power. Oh, my goodness. I think we have to be very clear on it when we think about the president-elect and cover the president-elect. And I don't think you need to sit down for 90 minutes at Mar-a-Lago and kiss his ring to be able to speak truth and be able to cover the story. Do you see how she couched that? This lady might have gone to one of the Diddy parties, but she certainly doesn't want to go to Mar-a-Lago. At least it doesn't sound like it. Not that I know that Hostin went to one of these parties, but I think probably somebody on that panel, at least one, did. Anyway, Hostin conceded that Scarborough and Brzezinski are not journalists in the true sense, but rather opinion journalists. Well, you are far worse. You are just opinionated, misinformed ladies on a political talk show that Disney is fostering to push their agenda on everybody they can possibly reach with it, which is a dwindling number, I know, as their ratings have absolutely tanked. But, it's the truth. She then added, "You have to remember that Trump is the guy who ushered in the era of fake news. Actually, ushered you into being fake news and everybody that you work with that claim to be journalists around you, although you basically are just a bunch of talking, squawking heads that, again, you're driving your own ratings down with. He's a guy that ushered in alternative facts. No, you're the ones ignoring science and pretending that one thing can be another thing when it's scientifically impossible thing. Yeah, it's you guys." And who attacked 3 black female journalists. I didn't see that. Was there something that happened? Was there a like a bunch of, did he swing? How many punches did he throw? Did he land any? I mean, he's a pretty old guy, so you'd think 3 ladies could take him. Anyway, he's the guy who revoked Jim Acosta's press credentials for asking a question. Actually, there's a reason for that, and it's not like he's the first president to do that. I don't think he can be trusted in the way that other presidents could be trusted. This is an aberration. No, the last 12 to 15 years have been the aberration, and, the neo-Marxism that you've been pushing turned out to be not very popular, and it's growing more unpopular by the day, and you guys just keep stepping in it. Keep going, though. Navarro, who was a never-Trumper Republican, she was a Republican? And one of his staunchest critics was even more blistering than Hostin about the president-elect and the press. In 2016, people voted for an unknown and voted thinking that maybe the gravitas of the office was going to change him. In 2024, people voted knowing who he was. Yes, we did. And nothing that he is doing, as concerning as I find it, and as disturbing as I find it, should be shocking because he told us what he was going to do these things, which is why we elected him. You fail to understand. We don't fall into the line of thinking that neo-Marxism is the way forward, or whatever version of communism, socialism, whatever it is you were in pursuit of. You're stripping power from the citizenry and removing their liberties one at a time, including free speech, which you guys have been on the side of removing for a while now. You think you should have free speech and the rest of us should be quiet, especially when we're fighting against your alternate facts and not the actual facts, which we're slowly finding out. There's a bill that comes due, and we're going to point it all at you. Get ready. Continuing, she said, "It's a sobering truth and hard to reconcile with what we have been doing for the last 8 years. Yes, you've been demonizing the man and his office and everybody around him, including those that still have some issues with what happened in an election and some other things around that were maybe not very well formed in thought, fact, or in anything but feeling, which is basically the way you ladies operate on that show." The stranger thing is in the next paragraph or two, she kind of identifies the fact that they will continue to crop up lies that they can find, to charge them in full if they can, and deliver even more mistruths just to try to keep him from being successful in doing the things that the voters asked him to do this time around. Which isn't kind of going to engender a whole lot of love with the people that may still be watching you. Maybe the extreme lunatics, but for the thoughtful person, they're going to start to see you as what you are. Propagandists. The person they call moderator on this show, Whoopi Goldberg, who I'm just going to call Karen. Yeah, Karen, apparently the moderator there, it was also a fervent critic of him, as she calls him, you-know-who. Said she's taking a wait-and-see approach. Well, you probably should. You probably should call some attorneys, find out just how much stew you're in with your defamation claim against that bakery earlier last week, and we'll see how that works out for you in the long run, since already New York City politicians are calling upon you to apologize for your, ridiculous behavior. But at least she thoughtfully said, "I want to see what we're up against. I want to see what will happen." Well, I don't think you're going to have to wait very long. I think once Trump is inaugurated, the 100 days of dismay will begin for you and all your cohorts in the fake news media. It's going to be a party. And I think authoritative news sources moving to the other side of things is telling because they see the way the wind is blowing, and it's not towards neo-Marxism any longer. In fact, I would argue it never was. It was just the media companies that control 99% of the mainstream entities that were trying to get things sent that direction by hiring activists right out of college who had no business trying to be journalists, nor did they have the ethics in order to, well, be an effective one. Wrapping up afterwards got them into a really unique place of going against Bill Maher, who said that you're not paying attention to what the voters are telling you. You're not taking action to correct what the voters rejected, and saying that focusing at the election results only through the lens of race and gender would yield a poor assessment. Boy, was he right. Of course, not viewing it through the economic lens was the wrong point of view. Well, guess who's willing to stay wrong? Everybody on The View, including Navarro, who said, if you're not seeing racism and sexism in America, then you need to clean your lenses. Well, that says it all. But I find it interesting that the mainstream is set upon itself once more, not really willing to understand the reasoning behind what happened or why, nor even willing to move forward from it. It's incredibly disappointing. It's very revelatory. And to be fair, I don't even care. They can go after each other. They normally do. When one of them diverges from the herd, they do typical cult-like behavior, and everybody attacks them. If you don't stick with your single-minded viewpoint and get your daily download of NPC programming, well, then we're going to attack you and cull you because you're bad, you're evil. If you want to know why so many people switched to a different perspective in this last election, whether or not they really had any kind of, positive feeling towards Donald Trump, it's because he was the only one willing to do something different and to bring America back to where it was before we started down this path, maybe along 15 to 25 years ago. On The View, it's business as usual. And at least over on Morning Joe, they're willing to take a different perspective for as long as it yields fruit, which I think is what more of this meeting was about than anything else. I think MSNBC knows there's not much time left for them to stay attached to Comcast Universal unless they somehow magically turn the boat around. And if you look at the latest ratings, the only person with a high-quality boat at this point in time is Fox News. And I'm not sure that that's going to change anytime soon, despite the fact that I have serious objections with the way Fox handled some things in the recent past. Perhaps they're going to get back on board the idea that telling the truth right down the line, fair and balanced, is probably a better perspective. In fact, what's strange is the Times actually agreed with that perspective and is looking to hire more right-wing opinion writers, columnists, etc., and try to cover the news from a balanced perspective. Congratulations. Anyway, those are my thoughts on the day's actions. Woke on woke crime? Not great. The fact that it's happening is just business as usual. It's a normal occurrence that happens when somebody deviates from the herd. They gotta go. And I guess that goes for Morning Joe. Anyway, those are my thoughts. What are yours? Let me know down in the comment section below. And, well, tell me if you think this is going to stop anytime soon, or are we going to see more outbursts like this when somebody starts to moderate their position? Because that's all this was, an opportunity to talk. Anyway, let me know those thoughts. Double check while you're down there. You're still subscribed. If you've never subscribed, do it now. It's free. And it'll get me closer to 50K. And double check you're still subscribed. If you've already been subscribed, hit the thumbs up button while you're there, because it's right by that comment thing. I don't know why you wouldn't. And turn that bell icon on for all notifications so you don't miss anything. I do at least one live stream per day, most days, except for occasionally I'll miss my Sunday show. And I do at least one video per day, sometimes many, many more today. On that note, be sure to take care of yourself, take care of others, and until next time, see ya.